little while back there was a slate of war crimes committed by the USA against Venezuelan fishing boats in the Gulf of Mexico, wasn't there? And if you were keeping up with this on a platform like evil YouTube, then obviously the first time it happened was the first time. You have many pundits on the evil YouTube trying to make you watch their recap of the mainstream news, and so when another boat was blown out of the water a short time later by the US military, baby murdering bastards, that was clearly another boat scuttled and another crew sent to an unnecessary and watery grave. Now, if you're anything like me, you know, really pathetic and sad because I'm browsing evil YouTube all day long, you'll know that some of the pundits' videos might arrive hours after the event, the next day sometimes. So when another boat apparently goes up in smoke, I'm trying to work out if it's the same another boat as earlier or a different another boat, which is to say another other boat no longer afloat. By the time I worked out if it was a new another other or not, it turned out it was another other, and we're already up to 5 fishing boats sunk. Confused I was. It was well into double digits when I was still in single digits in my head. Of course, the first sunk boat outrages, but the second one outrages and normalises, and then after that it's just routine, like burping Elon Musk after he's had his midday bottle of formula. I can only assume with all these military actions against fishing boats in the Gulf of Mexico that the USA has some objection to Venezuelans having seafood as part of their diet. But given that the US regime banned their own working families from buying lobster on supplementary food assistance, it should come as no surprise. They want all the shrimps for themselves, but I've seen video footage of China's industrial fishing fleets, and I think the USA went after the wrong target. Have you seen these things? It looks like fucking Blade Runner on the high seas. Ships lit up like cities as far as the eye can see. China are determined to give that one idiom its redundancy. You know the one. There's plenty more fish in the sea. But no, there isn't, because they're conveyor belting it right out of the ocean. But the USA wouldn't go after China because China isn't a small, cowering child compared to all the other countries the USA terrorizes. Because the Chinese have had their cod liver oil and are fighting fit. Just as an aside, dear viewer, I have to point out that a day or so after writing that, I was watching a comedy show I like, but the episode I'd never clapped eyes on before, where the comic was also pointing out the decreasing relevancy of the saying, "There's plenty more fish in the sea," due to industrial scale ocean fishing. But, cannily, comedian Harry Hill avoids accusations of plagiarism in this case by writing the same thing I came up with, but decades beforehand. Now, I suspect time travel soaked in 60s heist music with Dutch angles, but don't preclude, grudgingly, that comic genius Harry Hill might have come up with it all by himself. The ocean is being warmed up, acidified and simonized in microplastics, and its sustainable assets emptied out. Coral reefs are bleached blonde like the hair of the leatherati, strange diseases are rampant among the crustaceans, and oil pollution like oil product touches everything. But that's just a standard party political fundraising event in the USA where the crabs in the attendees' underwear and pubic hair have problems of their own. The king crab is moaning, "What kind of upscale gathering is this where they're not spoiling us with Ferrero Rocher, a confection largely made of Rice Krispies and hate? We can never know for sure because they keep the production process secret. A confection that is famously loved by obligate endoparasites, such as one the likes of which I currently occupy the Y-fronts of." I come from an island nation that floats turd-like atop an ocean so full of raw sewage that if you were above it in geostationary orbit, you'd be gagging on the smell. It's right minging, it is. As rotten as it is, I haven't been at the coast for 20 years, and that isn't right. I won't see the British coast ever again unless I get there by boat, as I made the mistake of emigrating to the USA before the Troubles. These past months, I used to fly back and forth all the time, but I wouldn't dare now. They want to inspect your arsehole at the baggage claim, scrutinise you for your eligibility for life itself based on what you might have posted on your social media, and this is before you board the Boeing made of good old vulture capitalism that has met cuts to public safety inspections so deep that it makes the Mariana Trench look like a superficial scratch. And then, if you make it to the skies, you might get air traffic controlled right into the side of a radar tower because they sacked so many people that newly promoted Janitor Joe is now the one playing train sets with the Sky Choo-Choos. So when it comes to leaving the USA, taking a leisurely swim through a US naval blockade in shark-infested sewage seems like a far more inviting prospect. But as I said, I come from an island nation that floats, turd-like, but with evidence that it was once plated in gold leaf. And this sits atop an ocean so turgid with historical blood that if you were above it in geostationary orbit, you'd be having a mistaken eureka moment upon realising, all right, that's why they call it the Red Sea. The USA thinks what it is doing is so bad, but I'm here to tell you that it's pretty pathetic actually. We invented concentration camps, mate. What did the USA invent? Sweet FA, that's what. That's why I'm proud to be British. Oceans of blood and all. Victoria, 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 Victoria. I don't know if Marquis Smith was being ironic or not, but fuck him anyway. You don't mess with your keyboardists, knobs, Mark. Stop fiddling with their organists, not fucking on. Anyway, as I say, I come from an island nation that floats turd-like, but with evidence that it was once plated in gold leaf, and then, protruding from the pinched end, a little white wriggling something. No doubt this is evidence of the economic recovery the party in power have been promising. I'm deliberately keeping the names out of it because they're all interchangeable, and so this observation will remain true for all time. Evergreen comedy is my ultimate goal, but I keep acquiring expiration dates by including current events and marking out my historical context by indulging in my own nostalgia. I mean, look at this mess of a routine. It's not even a routine. It's just a collection of brain farts loosely tacked together by the theme of the ocean. So it's no wonder it all smells a bit fishy. What substantive thing have I said this time out? What idea have I presented this time that is worth consideration? Even if I did have something to say, it'd be like taking a piss off the end of Southend Pier, something Essex and Suffolk Water would know all about. It's not slander if I hate them, so I can do things like that. Plus it helps that it's true, or at least I assert that it is, whether it is or not. It is. They all know about it. Their mum told me, so my sources are unimpeachable. I saw Nigel Farage's latest party political broadcast, and I only mention it because, aside from the fact Nigel Farage was visible in the broadcast and the fact that Nigel Farage's braying donkey-like voice could be heard in the broadcast, it was actually a really nicely shot broadcast of a pair of dogs ambling about upon the beach during low tide there at Walton on the Naze. If you are wondering what a naze is, it isn't the name of a river like what you might expect given the contextual clue, but is in fact an Old English word that describes a headland, and was so named by Viking settlers in the 16th century, but it's okay, they were white and non-Semitic, so Nige doesn't have a problem with them. And during this party political broadcast for the party that agitated for Britain's exit from the European Union, and name changes just that, Nigel Farage said nothing of note. Not a tear for the decimated British fishing industry, not a jot of empathy for the crushing austerity inflicted upon the population for no reason other than populism. But enough talk about that feckless waste of space. I'll leave you with this thought, dear viewer. If you pluck a seashell from the seashore and hold it to your ear, you will hear the sound of Nigel Farage's inner monologue, just a vacuous, empty, roaring sound where there should be some evidence of cogent thought. But there isn't. I think he's just a collection of flotsam and jetsam animated by a collective of grumpy crabs, if I'm honest. Right, surely I've got 10 minutes worth of guff written by now, so I'm calling it a night. Thanks for watching this against medical advice, and with a yo-ho-ho and a rottler bum, I wish you a good night. Good night.